What's up, everybody? Superchargers fan here for another weekly update. So, yeah, the Mustang's still doing good. It's been an action-packed week here, though. I apologize if I sound a little hoarse still. I just got over my cold here. Most of the week, I was really struggling, constantly blowing my nose, just going around this time of year, but not fun at all. But yeah, as far as the Mustang goes, I took it in for an oil change on Friday of last week, and if you follow me on Instagram and all that kind of stuff, then you already know all this stuff. But for those that don't, I want to just do a quick recap. I took the car for an oil change. Oil change went fine, and then as I was driving home from my oil change, the left turn signal was making the sound like as if there was a bulb out, and I was like, what the heck? The car only has 4,800 miles on it. Why is my turn signal bulb out? And in addition to that, I was like, why is this happening right after I just got an oil change at a dealership where they just did a multi-point inspection to make sure everything was good and all that kind of stuff? And and then when I got home, I should have probably just turned around and gone straight back to the dealership, but I kind of was just like relaxed in the Christmas spirit. I was like, we'll just ride it out and see what happens. I got home and I was able to get behind the car, and I saw that it was actually the middle bar of the tri-bar tail lamp there on the driver's side here that was out, and that's an LED. Usually LEDs last a very long time. Not sure what the deal was there, so I was like, well, that's strange. So I called the dealership and set an appointment. I was like, can I please come in today to like get this fixed? And they're like, yeah, we'll squeeze you in, whatever. And I was like, all right, well, I'll be over in like an hour or so. And so I was going into the car to get back in and go back to the dealership an hour later, and after just letting it sit for an hour, for some reason the turn signal now works. So and it hasn't had any issues since. I'm not sure what the deal was with that, but it's all good, so I'm not worried about it. So that was interesting, to say the least. But yeah, otherwise though, everything's been going well. I did manage to successfully do the Sync 3 update here, and I was going to do a tutorial, but it's honestly so simple that even someone extremely unhandy like myself, it took me all of 10 minutes to do the swap, and the update here, the software update, took me maybe 15 minutes of you just sitting in the car and letting it do its thing. There's other tutorials people posted, but it's as simple as clicking the link that I have in the description for the forum, and on that forum there you'll see all the information as far as what you need to do. You just download the file, unzip the file, follow the instructions in the README file that they have within the download there, and follow the instructions. You just put the update on a flash drive, plug it in, let it do its thing, and then it updates, and that automatically gets you Android Auto. So those of you that have Android phones, you're set. You don't have to do anything more. Those that want to have Apple CarPlay, if you have an Apple device, then what you need to do is swap the USB hub, which I ordered one. I have the link below to the part that I ordered. It's an F-150 part, and so it doesn't work OEM. So basically I swapped it out, and as far as the swap goes, all you need is a little screwdriver. Pop out the old one, unplug the two connections, or the three connections, plug in the two connections into the new hub that's a dual USB hub instead, and so you get two USB hubs now in the center armrest with this new hub, but you lose the functionality of the one up front here that I used to have, and now it doesn't work anymore. But I only use that one to look at my maps on my phone anyway, and so since I'm not going to be looking at my maps on my phone because it'll be on the screen now, the big nice screen for CarPlay, I don't need to worry about doing this anymore with plugging it in up front here, so I don't have that issue. So it works out for me. And so anyway, a couple other things I want to add about the Sync 3 update here is that it actually made Sync a little quicker. The fonts, I think, are a slightly bit different, or a little bit smaller, or both, I'm not sure, but it's snappier. I like the way that it works better here. It's not as buggy as it was with the original Sync version 1 that my car was running, and so this 2.2 update is a huge improvement. There's a couple slight UI changes that are different, but you're not going to really notice unless you use a Sync 3 system every day. And like I said, Apple CarPlay works spectacularly now. You just plug it into the center armrest here, and then I have the maps on the screen, I have everything, and so it really wasn't worth doing a separate tutorial. I don't think. If people would like to have me do a separate tutorial, I will, but it isn't official. It's just again, this is something that Ford didn't officially release yet. It's an official Ford file. It is legit. This isn't some hack or something, but it's just instead of taking your car to the dealership and having a technician do what I just described, you just do it yourself. And it's really simple and, you know, not worth paying a technician $80 or something to do that for you. And like I said, it's not even available yet. I don't know when Ford's doing it. They said sometime in 2017 now. They keep pushing back the release date. So I'm not sure when that's even coming. That's why I was like, you know what, I'm going to be doing some road trips here early in the January and stuff, and so I want to make sure that I have CarPlay so I can have my maps on here when I'm, you know, road tripping and stuff. So now I'm really happy to have that, and that completes this car. You know, one of the big appeals for me to upgrade to a 2016 here, whenever I was, you know, switching to a GT, instead of just getting a used 2015 GT, I wanted this because I wanted Apple CarPlay, and now I have it, and so I'm very happy that I do. So that's good to have there, and yeah, otherwise it just feels great to be driving this car every day now. Again, since I won't have any press cars here for a while, and so I'm totally fine with that though, because I love driving this thing every day. It's just such a blast, and I absolutely love it. But yeah, so that's it as far as all the updates here on the Mustang, guys. So I'll send it back to me at the news desk for this week's news. Right, for this week's news, the first thing is Lamborghini this past week unveiled the restyled or lightly facelifted 2017 Lamborghini Aventador S, which, you know, is just, you know, some aesthetic changes here to make it look a little bit sharper, a little bit more like the SV, just to update it a little bit from the older, you know, Aventador looking styling, which I think still looks great, but, you know, they have to kind of keep it fresh, and I understand that. So it's more aerodynamic now, they say, with, you know, the restyled front air dam there and the restyled rear diffuser, and it also has a new hexagonal exhaust outlet that looks kind of cool, an active rear wing that has 3 different positions, and because of all these aerodynamic changes, they say that front downforce is improved by 130%, while the overall efficiency of the high downforce mode increases by 50%, and then in the low downforce mode it improves it by 400% for, you know, the efficiency aspect there. And so the real big difference, I think, with the new Aventador S here is it's going to have a new 4-wheel steering system, which is a new addition, you know, that it never had before, and the first time for a production Lamborghini. And so it's going to be, you know, this typical type of application for a 4-wheel steering system where at low speeds it turns the rear wheels in the opposite direction of the front to help with the turning radius, which is also very large in the Aventador already, so it helps to shrink that, which is really good. And then at high speeds, of course, the system works in reverse to you know, help with handling and make it have better stability as well. So as far as the engine and all that stuff goes, it's mostly unchanged, the same 6.5 liter V12, but it's been bumped up to the same output as the SV, so 740 horsepower now, same torque as before with 509 pound-feet. The max engine speed has also been raised from 8,350 RPM to 8,500 RPMs, which is only 150 RPM, but hey, higher RPM is always good. And 0 to 62 now happens in 2.9 seconds. Top speed is the same 217 miles per hour as before. So, you know, all good, and I mean, I think Aventadors still basically sell themselves, and I think most people were happy with them already. And so, you know, this shouldn't really change things aside from, you know, keeping it fresh. It also, on the interior, has a few little updates. It adds Apple CarPlay now, which is, you know, a nice enhancement and things like that. But otherwise, still, you know, very much the same there as well. So the starting price is going to be $421,350. And of course, you can probably get it up close or over $500,000 with the right options. But deliveries are going to start in this spring, so they're going to be available very soon. And overall, I think it's a nice little improvement. And for a bunch of teasers here, you know, the Detroit Auto Show is coming up in just a couple of weeks, and so all the manufacturers are starting to tease their stuff. Ford, for one, there's rumors that they'll be teasing the 2018 Mustang updates here in the next couple of weeks. We haven't gotten any teasers of that yet. One thing, though, that we did get some information on this past week is that the 2018 GT350 is confirmed to be the same car as the 2017, just with the addition of a couple new colors, which I already touched on in my other 2018 Mustang update video where I mentioned the new Leadfoot Gray, I believe it's called, for the GT350. But this new internal dealer document has confirmed that the GT350 won't have any of the updates that we're assuming the 2018 Mustang will be getting. We know that it's going to get some kind of refresh here for 2018, but it seems like the Shelby will not be getting those refreshes, at least as far as this dealer document goes. It stated explicitly that it will be the same car, unchanged, just with a new color or two. So a little bit of a bummer there for the Shelby people who were hoping it would either be a shorter production and would end in 2017, or that, you know, it would also get some revisions and things for 2018. There was also rumors of it getting an automatic or a dual clutch, and those currently don't seem to be possible either, according to this dealer document. So we still have to wait and see. But anyway, back to the Detroit teasers that we do have. Audi kicked it off here with a new teaser, two new teasers actually, two pictures here of the new Audi Q8 Concept, which they're saying is going to be a sporty Q derivative. So think like an Audi Q7, but sportier, probably has a little bit more of a, as you can see there with the roof line and stuff, a little bit racier than a Q7. But should be very large and bold and imposing, as the teaser here suggests. And this is just a concept we're going to see in Detroit, though. The final production version shouldn't be coming out until 2018. And so this is just a lightly disguised concept. You know, it'll have big wheels and skinny side mirrors and all that stuff, but should be very close to what the production version will be like. Another car that was teased was Volkswagen's doing some kind of new microbus again. Now, we've seen multiple microbus concepts over the past couple decades here, and none of them have really come to fruition, but this one actually has a good shot of being produced, because it's going to be on this concept is going to be on the MEB platform, which is what the Volkswagen ID concept is on, that they unveiled in Paris. And because of the whole Dieselgate scandal, Volkswagen's going all in on electric. And so they said they're going to be building the ID by 2020, and they want to do multiple other variants and, you know, other derivatives of this platform, and one of them would be this microbus most likely. And so we just have the teasers here, which makes it look very retro. You know, it's got the two-tone thing going with the trim there, you know, to separate the body lines there for the two-tone paint job. And, you know, a futuristic take on the microbus, but I think it actually looks really, really great from the little teasers we have here. And so that'll be shown at Detroit, and it should be very exciting. And all the information is really said about the teasers. It'll probably be all-wheel drive, but just be on that MEB platform. Another car that was teased was Honda released a sketch of the new 2018 Odyssey, and so that's another car that'll be unveiled at the Detroit Auto Show. Here is the 2018 Odyssey, which will be all new supposedly, and so cool to see that. Chevy also has shown off a teaser for the new Traverse, which was confirmed last week that would be brought to the Detroit Auto Show here in a couple of weeks, and so we have a teaser there of that, and looks cool, but you know, can't see too much, of course, just being a teaser, but cool nonetheless. Some not so great news from GM is some news about them idling some of their production plants, at least actually a lot of their production plants here for a little while. And that's just because of, you know, everyone wants crossovers, and so sedans are selling terribly. And that goes for all car companies, not just GM, but GM's getting hit hardest, really, it seems here, unfortunately. And so there's announcements this week that the plant that produces the Buick LaCrosse, Cadillac CT6, and Chevy Volt and Impala are going to be closed for 3 weeks. The Fairfax plant in Kansas that does the Chevy Malibu is also going to be closed for 3 weeks. The Lansing Grand River plant that does the ATS, the CTS, and the Camaro, those are going to be shut down for 2 weeks. And the Lordstown, Ohio plant that does the Chevy Cruze and the Bowling Green, Kentucky plant that does the Corvette will both go idle for a week. And so this is just because they have way too much inventory, and this was something that we've been following throughout the year, as the Mustang has sold better than the Camaro almost every month, and it's just they're not selling these cars like they were expecting to, and they built way too many of them. And so generally the good amount of supply for cars to have in inventory is about a 60 to 70 day supply, and GM has 168 days supply of LaCrosses, 177 days worth of Camaros, 170 days worth of Corvettes, 121 days worth of Cruzes. ATS is at 119, 132 days for CTSs, and 110 days for CT6s. So as far as their sedans are going, just way too many. And this is why, if you look, you can get Camaros for $8,000 to $10,000 off some places. There's tons of incentives, and all these, you know, Cadillac, all these companies are slashing prices big time to try and move. A lot of these models are even like the Camaros are 2016s. There's still tons and tons of 2016 Camaros sitting around when 2017s have been out for 6 months already. and they're just not moving them, sadly. And so it's kind of a rough situation here. And so hopefully, you know, these plant shutdowns, although it's unfortunate, you know, that they're shutting down the plants for a temporary, you know, amount of time here, it's what's needed to, you know, get these inventories in check. You can't just keep running the plants if people aren't buying them that quickly. And so that's just, you know, the way it is now. It isn't all bad news. The Trax, the Colorado, and GM, all the GM full-size SUVs are below the 50-day inventory amount there, and so they keep having increases in sales, and they're all doing very well. So it's not like GM's losing money everywhere. It's just with the sedans and small cars and things like that. So unfortunate to hear that. Some positive news as far as production stuff goes is Ford this past week produced the first 2017 Ford GT supercars, and so they started rolling off the line here, and so yeah, we know they're going to be doing a certain amount each year. I believe it's 250 each year. And they're only committed to 2 years so far, but there's a possibility they'll do 2 more years after that if, you know, the demand is there, and I think it certainly will be. And so very good to hear that the Ford GT is continuing on here and will start showing up on the streets very soon. Mercedes this past week showed off their new S-Class Coupe Night Edition, and the Night Edition is something that a lot of car companies are doing, these blacked out versions of their models, and that's all that this really is for this special edition S-Class. It gets a bunch of glossy black accents, including the grille, 20-inch AMG wheels, mirror housings, and side sills are all darker. There's Night Edition badges on the front fenders, of course, and on the inside, you know, it has poplar wood trim that's black, and you know, they kind of black out little things here and there as well. And yeah, not really that exciting, but you know, a cool addition nonetheless, and that will be shown for the first time in Detroit as well. BMW this past week officially announced pricing for the new 2017 5 Series, which they officially revealed you know, about a month or two ago now. And so we have all the pricing here as well as the new model names and things. So the standard 2017 BMW 530i with two-wheel drive is going to be starting off at $52,195. If you want the xDrive all-wheel drive version, the price gets bumped up to a starting price of $54,495. And then the BMW 540i, which is the faster one that now has, you know, 35 additional horsepower over the 535. Anyway, those start out at $57,445, and the all-wheel drive version of that bumps it up to $59,745. So still under $60,000 for, you know, one of the higher model lines there. So it's about $1,000 more per variant than the outgoing, you know, 530s and things like, or the 528, I suppose, and all the other models. So you're getting a little bit more standard equipment as well for the money. So you are gaining stuff with the new one, of course, in addition to all the other improvements the 2017 generation provides. The pricing for the upcoming M550 xDrive and the 530e and all the electric versions and stuff, they don't have pricing for all of those yet, but those won't be available until sometime later in the spring. The 2017 5 Series, the standard, all these other ones will actually be available in early February, they're saying, which is all good news there. But that more standard equipment that you get here with the 2017 5 Series is now standard are LED headlights that are active, and then you also get standard 18-inch wheels, which I guess is an improvement over the 2016 models. And then that 4-cylinder base model also gets an all-new engine that has 8 additional horsepower that I went over back whenever they unveiled the pictures. And so, yeah, improvements, you know, they're all quicker and, you know, obviously look better, have much nicer interiors, and you know, more technology and all that kind of stuff. And so cool to hear the pricing on those. I'm sure they'll sell very well. Another BMW news story real quick is that the new BMW X7 was spied out testing, and all we can see is that it's basically a longer X5, which is kind of how they're positioning this. It's going to probably look very similar to an X5, and it's probably just going to take, you know, a lot of styling cues from the 7 Series sedan and apply those to the SUV here. It's of course going to be 3 rows and be larger and just kind of be a competitor to the Q7, the Cadillac Escalade, you know, all these full-size SUVs that BMW's never had a competitor for. The X5 is as big as you got, and honestly, it's not that big. So I think this is much overdue, and I'm sure dealers will be overjoyed to see that this is, you know, being worked on here. And the news reports I've been reading are saying it's not going to be arriving until 2018 as a 2019 model year car, but this looks fairly far along. I wouldn't be surprised if it made a late debut at the, you know, the end of next year, maybe as a late, you know, or an early 2018 model or something like that. we'll have to wait and see what they actually end up doing. But, you know, cool to see that nonetheless. And the last story this week is Tesla is introducing a new fee for Model S and Model X owners. And that is, you know, it's superchargers. There's been a problem apparently with people just leaving their cars parked at supercharger stations even once they're fully charged and clogging up these superchargers so that other people can't use them. And there's been all kinds of savagery going on apparently at these charging stations. And so they want to try and curb that. And sadly, they need to force this since people don't have the common courtesy to do it on their own. So Tesla just this past week announced a new per-minute supercharger idle fee that kicks in once your electric car is, you know, totally charged up. And the fee's only temporary, they're saying, because Tesla says very soon all this will be automatic and the charging stations will, you know, automatically unplug and the cars will automatically drive off, and all that'll be done by the computers, and humans won't even be doing that stuff. So this is just until it gets to that point, which, you know, they're saying is only a couple of years away. Once it gets to that point, this won't be an issue, but until then, they're asking people to move their cars once they're charged. They say, you know, a customer would never leave a car parked at a gas pump for a long period of time. The same thinking applies with the superchargers. So the way that they're charging people for this is that with, you know, once your car is done charging, the clock immediately starts running. And so it's 40 cents per minute, which when you're driving a $100,000 car, or if you get a cheap one, you know, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, but 40 cents a minute isn't the end of the world. I don't even know if that's going to change much, honestly, but who knows. But if you move your car within 5 minutes of the app telling you that, you know, the car is done charging, then those minutes are waived and you don't get charged for them. And whenever you do get charged, you don't get charged right there at the supercharger station. They charge you the next time you bring your car in for service, and all those overused minutes or whatever that you've been sitting in front of these superchargers, those will all get added up, and you'll have to pay that whenever you bring your car in for service. But Tesla did clarify, because some people were outraged by this and said, well, what if I'm in the middle of nowhere and there aren't other people waiting for the supercharger? What harm am I doing by leaving my car parked there? And so Tesla went back and changed the rule, and they say that Elon Musk tweeted out, actually, that they're going to modify this so that people only pay a fee if most bays are occupied. If the site is basically deserted, no problem to park. So I like that they're kind of, you know, reasonable about it, and they say, look, it's fine if, you know, it's deserted, but if it's busy, get out of the way. And makes total sense. And yeah, hopefully that'll help with the congestion there at the supercharger stations. And so cool to see that they're doing that. But anyway, that's it for all the news this week, guys. So send it back to me in the car. All right, so I'll leave you guys with a nice little acceleration here, like I always do. Sideways. And yeah, too much traffic to really do more than that, but this thing is still such a blast. I love it. So yeah, that's it as far as all the updates, guys, here. So thank you guys very much for watching. I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas. I hope you have a really happy time with family and friends, and I'll see you guys next week. Take care.